Tyson Fury's shown a lot of interest in getting into pro wrestling. What do you think of that? Do you think it'd be a good move for him to make at this point? He obviously kind of dipped his toe in it last year.
Well, I think if he wants to make the commitment, I think he could make it. But if Tyson Fury is up for doing 300 shows a year, then he's in the right business. I'm sure that Tyson probably wants to do something more part-time, more like WrestleMania and Survivor Series. If he was really serious, then he would probably go to NXT and train. And I don't think he wants to make that commitment. But you never know.
I mean, because obviously you know better than anybody the commitment that it takes to move into pro wrestling. Do you think, is that something that maybe people don't get until they actually do it?
Yeah, I think, it's pretty cool to have Tyson, someone like Tyson, a big celebrity, get into it and, do a big event like he did in Saudi Arabia. But to have him go full time, that's a different story. A lot of celebrities don't want to make that commitment, and I understand why. It's not easy, and you're going to give your whole entire life to traveling on the road 320 days a year. You're going to be away from your family, and it's going to be a whole different life. It's a lot different than boxing. He gets to train where he lives, and then he has an event once or twice a year where he boxes in maybe Las Vegas or New York City, but that's not the same as wrestling around the world 300 days a year.
And we're approaching WrestleMania season. Obviously last year you got to have your swan song at WrestleMania, the match with Baron Corbin. A lot of people are kind of curious about if there was any other names considered. I know you've kind of talked about it a little bit. Was there any other names strongly considered for the match before it ended up being you and Baron?
Well, I wasn't supposed to retire. I told Vince McMahon I wanted to retire. I was supposed to have the match with Baron regardless because we were having a program for a full year. So I was supposed to retire next WrestleMania, but the way my body was and how I was feeling, I knew the time was now. So I did ask Vince if I could have a different opponent, but he told me no. He said, you're going to stick with the opponent you were supposed to have. So Vince was right, and Baron Corbin, the fans might not have been happy, but Baron's a great wrestler. He's a great entertainer. He's gonna eventually be a world champion. He's already on his way. So I was just the start of it, and hopefully he'll have a lot more success in the future.
And how was it for you to be able to come back and work with guys like Drew McIntyre and kind of, on your way out, be helping a lot of younger guys?
Well, that was my role. When I got back, I knew that Vince didn't want me to be the world champion. He obviously inducted me in Hall of Fame for a reason when I came back. And then he obviously gave me the GM role because he didn't want me to wrestle. So when he did want me to wrestle, it was more to make the other guy, make them bigger, make them better. And I did that. So I gave back, and, I was happy to do it. But, my vision wasn't exactly the same vision they had. And but I don't blame them. They were right in doing so.
And something came up last week that I'd never heard before, that there was actually some talks at WrestleMania 20 of it being you and Bret Hart in a match, which I know people have kind of, loved the idea that might happen. I mean, how far did that go, and was that one that you really were keen to do?
It was my idea. I wanted to wrestle Bret at WrestleMania 20. I actually contacted Bret to see if he would do it, and he said no, and I understood why. He being where I am now in my career and knowing what I'm capable of now, I understand why Bret didn't want to do it. He couldn't have the Bret Hart style match he wanted to have because of the stroke and the injuries he's had. So he felt it was better if we didn't go there. So I understand it now. I mean, Bret was the best. When he was wrestling in his prime, he was the best wrestler of that era. And he might possibly want to be one of the top 3 greatest wrestlers of all time. But when I asked him to wrestle, he was in no shape to be the wrestler he wanted to be. We could have had a street fight or some gimmick match, but and I even told Bret I'd bump around for him. He didn't have to bump, but he didn't want to do it because he couldn't put on the Bret Hart performance he wanted to put on.
I mean, the irony is that the following year you would go on to have this classic WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels, and that program, people still talk about it. They still sing "Sexy Kurt" sometimes. How cool was that for you? Because you not only got to have a great match, but the program and the build to it was pretty exciting for fans. You guys were on different brands, so it was a dream match.
It was a dream match, and it was something that I definitely wanted to do before I left the WWE. Bret is, he's right up there, or Shawn is right up there with Bret Hart as far as in-ring skills. Shawn might be even a better entertainer because of his persona and his character. So Shawn is a lot of fun to work with. He's the best. I mean, he's one of the top three, one of my top three favorites to work with, and we had a lot of fun. We stole the show at WrestleMania, and we were considered a mid-card match. We weren't even a championship match. So, but it was a lot of fun wrestling him, and I knew if I got Bret, in just one match, that's all I wanted. We ended up having 3 good ones, but that one match, I just wanted to have one with Shawn that I knew that would make a huge impression on people.